Okay, hello, welcome to episode 13 of On the Game with the Wild Boar. We haven't got Bubba today, I'm afraid. You're just going to be here with me and Ben.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. But, and we're both ill, which is even better. So it's going to be a really exciting, exciting podcast ahead. And there's loads of stuff, loads and loads of stuff that we're going to be going over that's gaming related. Okay, well, let's try and we'll do one kind of thing each. So Ben, you hit me with one of with your top thing you want to talk about.
What news?
News, whatever you want. Hit me with a topic. Let's go. Let's get
News.
into it.
Right, let's get into
Get
it.
into it.
No pissing about, Sam.
Don't piss about. Zero pissing about. Fat is off. Pure loving.
Right. Grim Fandango is out.
Yes. Have you played it? Have you got it?
I've got it, and in typical Ben style, I have bought it and not played it.
Not news. Cutting to the next one.
No, no. I mean, I booted it up and just to see what it was like, and I can imagine I played like the first I don't know 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm really excited for when I can clear some time to play that. It looks fantastic, kind of fun adventure game. Not many of them around at the moment. Thank you
I
very
heard that
much.
there was a lot of people had problems in terms of downloading it and playing it and all this stuff. It was a bit of a fiasco on day one.
I didn't have any problems at all, but I mean, given the way that PSN is, it not doesn't really surprise me. Whenever I download anything from PSN, it seems to come at a very, very slow pace, and not to do with the internet speed.
Coming slowly is definitely what Ben does not like.
Exactly, fast as possible. Thanks very much.
Exactly. Okay. Well, that's. I've heard that the hint system is in there isn't one. Like on the like Monkey Island remakes and all this stuff, there's an element of like if you don't, for so long if you can't get it, then they basically tell you what it is. But that isn't the case with this one because that's the problem that I always had with like adventure games. And I remember like I'm only so far in Monkey Island, and that's because. The last kind of thing I had to do was put everything into this like cauldron and make this weird juice or something on the boat before you hit Monkey Island or something like that. And I was
Yeah.
just, how are you supposed to know that? It's just ridiculous. Some of the stuff they just expect you to like figure out. And at least with Monkey Island, there's an element of like, okay, if you don't get it, then here's basically what it is. But apparently Grim Fandango doesn't have that part. I don't know.
No, I don't think it does. It's got a developer's commentary thing, so a little kind of film reel appears in the corner when you can listen. You can choose to listen to something written by or recorded by one of the developers to sort of say, oh, this was really tough when we did this, or this was really stupid, or that kind of thing. And there's also a feature where you can just click the thumbstick to kind of see the old visuals, and it's not. I mean, it's not really that much of a difference. It does look smoother, but essentially they haven't, because of the way the art style is, it's not really changed very much. As in,
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain that's why it can run on Vita perfectly. It doesn't really, it's not a probably processor intensive game, I don't think. But yeah, no, it's all cool. They've done some nice things with the shading and all that kind of thing to make it look a bit smoother. But overall, the art style is kind of very basic and blocky and kind of caricaturist of skeletons, effectively. No, it's cool. It's good.
Cool. Okay. Well, one of the big things that I've got to talk about is I got a Wii U.
Oh, Jesus. Why?
My friend Sai, who sometimes listens to this, it was like, oh, I just need to get rid of it because I'm not playing it, and it's kind of burning a hole in his pocket a little bit.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah,
There's a reason he's not playing it.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I got it off him for just over 100 quid, the premium one.
£200.
100, 200.
Just
And
over.
just over £200, bargain. And yeah, so I've been playing. Oh, hold on a sec. What the fuck is that? So I've been playing Mario Kart 8,
Okay.
which is just as much fun as you think it is.
Quite fun, but then eventually annoying.
A little bit, yeah, but it's yeah, it's
The
good.
hallmark of all Nintendo games.
Yeah, true, true. It's nice, but
Yeah.
it's great to like sit down for like 5-10 minutes and smash it out. But it is a very like it's better when I'm playing it by myself. I'm a little bit like this is lame, but it's the only game that the girlfriend plays full stop, and that makes it quite fun. Though she gets quite angry about it. Um, and
Amazing.
you know how you do the you've played Mario Kart before, right?
Yeah.
And you know how you do the drifting. Like drifting is quite an integral part to playing it, especially because you get the boosts as you're drifting. She can't drift basically, or not properly. So when it comes to like Rainbow Road or something like that, she keeps falling off, and she does these little like bunny hops to turn herself around, to stop herself falling off. Bless her heart. She gets really annoyed about it. But saying that, like I left her for a day or something and went off to do something. I came back, she was playing it, and she really like properly sat down and actually, tried to get really good at it and improved greatly. So so it's good for that. So Mario Kart 8, there's a lot of people.
About this site called YouTube.
Yeah, that's cheating. You can't do that. But it's what you think of a Mario Kart game. I mean, there's all the little. There's not really much else to say about it. Yeah, it's really good fun, but is it something that's, it's a pick up and play piece essentially. Same with Super Smash Brothers Wii U. Again, it's great. It's classic Smash Brothers stuff. But I'm not sitting in a room at uni with like 5 other mates playing it, which it kind of loses that appeal. But yeah, so I downloaded a couple of things because the eStores had a few things on sale, like Super Mario Galaxy 2, which I started playing and then was like, what am I doing? Everyone keeps going about how great it is. It's like I think I've just come to the realization I'm not a big platformer fan. But and I got the Metroid Prime trilogy or whatever, which is like £8 or something, which is supposed to be good. So I don't know, I'll try that at some point. But that's my other issue. So I've got the Wii U. So I have to see if Bubba have to get his ID or whatever and add him to it, so at least can play Mario Kart with him or something. So yeah, that's another one. What's next on your list?
So I'll stick with news items. So Persona 5 has been announced, or there's been a trailer out for it. I haven't played 4, although again, I own it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah. I mean, 4 is amazing. I mean, do you know if there's anything? Is it actually a sequel to 4, or is it just its own little completely different?
I have no idea. Not having seen the characters in 4, I don't know whether they're in this trailer for 5. So I am not the person to be helping you with that question. Yep. So that's announced. People losing their shit over that. Your turn.
Okay. Well, I'll talk about. I'll tell you what.
Kind of news, other news items.
Other news / reviews. Well, I haven't been on top of news. I'm going to be honest lately, but I did play the Battlefield Hardline.
Cool.
Beta, alpha, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Have you got it? Did you play it at all?
I did not play it. No.
It's terrible.
Oh, really?
In my opinion, I was playing it thinking it was going to be right. So for me, like, the ultimate one that was kind of in that vein, and in the same vein as like Grand Theft Auto heist mode, was like Kane and Lynch 2, which I know sounds strange, but like where you had like 5 robbers, one of you was a mole, and you all swapped around. And I can't remember. I don't think you could be police. Maybe you could have. I can't remember. But I thought it was going to be more like that. And when I was playing it, I played like the heist mode, and I was playing it thinking, I've no idea what's going on. I don't know what's on the screen or what the icons mean or anything like that. And I was like, oh, this is just Battlefield, but like with a fucking weird coat of paint on it. And I don't know. I just played it for like probably about an hour, and I was like, this is so boring. Like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just walking around. It might as well just be like a team deathmatch with mini. Let's say obstacles with mini goals basically or targets. It's just really not great. There are other modes on it, and I might try them again, but I don't think it's going to be very good. Unless you like Battlefield, because I know people, there's some hardcore like multiplayer Battlefield out there who like rate it a lot more than Call of Duty, and maybe it's more for them. Maybe they'd really like that. But for me, just to kind of dip my toe in it, I was like, don't like this.
Well, I played it at Eurogamer, and it kind of similar to what you're saying, as in, I mean, I did quite enjoy it, but it was very much a sense of I didn't know what the hell was going on. But it was kind of a one mode thing. It was cops v robbers, and you had to try and steal the cars or something. I can't remember.
Right.
It was fun, but it was ultimately just a bit kind of chaotic, which I suppose is quite good. But I'm not buying a game just for that.
I don't mind if it's organised chaos. I thought it was going to be something like Payday 2, like a bit more, like you really felt like you were doing a job. Do you know what I mean? Rather than like, respawnable, like, fuck, we've got to stand by. I don't know. I just was playing it, going, what the hell is going on? Anyway, I don't know if that's a bit of news, but I didn't really rate it that much. What's your next piece?
Evolve, the beta.
Did you play that? I played that as well. But you tell me your thoughts first.
I mean, I continue to really like the game, and it kind of sits at odds with with what I think about the game as a whole from how it's being released. And I don't know how much you know about all this, but effectively, before they've really announced the content that's actually in the game, they're already trying to hawk pre-order bonuses and season passes and
I heard this.
All this kind of stuff. And it's now to the point where it's pretty much one of the most kind of heinous examples of this kind of just over, I don't know how you would say it.
Cashing in, like squeezing.
Cashing in, squeezing the gamer, that kind of thing. It's kind of just a horrible example of that kind of practice. Especially in a game where, although they've now kind of detailed that there's story modes and kind of modes you can play on your own, the kind of core of the game is this kind of online only multiplayer, where essentially you'll choose one of 4 different classes of humans or the monster, and you'll get into it, and it's all about working together quite closely. And the game itself, the core idea is fantastic. I think it's really kind of interesting and innovative, and that's great. But there's only 3 monsters in the in the final game.
It's 5. I made that up.
No, I think it's 3.
Okay.
It's 3, so it's the Goliath, the
Kraken, I know that. Like Goliath, Kraken, and
the I can never remember it. It's like a scythe or something weird like that, or some kind of witch thing. Anyway, there are those 3, and then there are 3 different versions of each of the different classes of characters. So as in, you can have like a, in terms of like the big assault class or whatever, you can have like a big Russian dude, or you can have a big British dude, or whatever, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Each of which has slightly different weapons or slightly different kind of abilities, but essentially the same kind of function. Now, I mean, my point of view is that really a lot of content to warrant a kind of standard £50 game? I would probably say no, it's not by a long shot. And then they're immediately trying to hawk all the pre-order bonuses to you. If you pre-order it, you get the 4th monster for free without having to pay for it. If you buy the season pass, you get an additional character for each human slot, and you get you get cheaper price on the next DLC or something like that. It sounds very much like they've planned or made a lot of the game for DLC and kind of carved it up to make as much money as possible, and it doesn't really sit very well with me at all. I find it actually a bit repulsive, like that kind of whole idea of you're being absolutely rinsed like an old flannel for your money, without really getting a large amount of game in return.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I think with DLC, if it's not in the main game, it should be what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say auxiliary, but that doesn't make any sense. But like, it's an additional piece of content, and not in the sense that it's going to change the core game, but it's if it was like a narrative game. Like, I understand, for example, it's probably the worst example, but with Assassin's Creed, some of the DLC is like it's taking this character and showing you their story, and you're like, okay, like that makes sense. Like I liked it enough, or like, and it's a completely different side story that I wouldn't have wanted in the main game because it would have been too much fat. But you know, like, okay, I'm interested in this side of it, or this person, or more of the world, and I want to explore that more. But when it's something like, if it's the fourth monster, it's like, well, hold on, because then that means you're taking away the experience of someone who's paid for the actual game by cutting off like there's only, if you've only got 3 and you're adding another one, that's you know, that should be in the main game. Like, why does that have to be a paid for bit when you've already paid for the main game? It's not a side thing. It's
becoming more and more prevalent, isn't it? Because I mean, we'll come on to it later on when talking about Destiny. But Destiny just did something fairly similar to this, but nowhere near as egregious as what Evolve is trying to do.
Wasn't there like there was a map or something? Like someone figured out a space in the Destiny world that they had said that was DLC, and they'd said it wasn't in the main game, and then someone's like, actually, it is in the main game. Is that...
I think that's slightly different. People exploring the kind of out of bounds areas of the maps where they can get into, because I mean, effectively, what they're saying is that these areas kind of have to be semi-built before the game ships, so that everyone knows how big their install is going to be, or some kind of excuse like that. But the physical space for it to be there is not really the logic behind which enemies spawn and what the mission is. But what I think that Destiny did that is similar to what Evolve are doing is that when they released the first DLC, the whatever the hell it's called, the Dark Below, the weekly, daily, and Nightfall weekly content, which is effectively a challenge to do, you know, a particular mission on very hard difficulty, and it lasts a week and get special rewards. People that didn't have the DLC, because that content is on a rota, were, you know, on random weeks were locked out of that particular challenge. So say the Nightfall strike came along for this week, and it was a strike that was related to the new DLC. There wasn't a substitute that was non-DLC content, so you effectively weren't able to do the Nightfall and have your roll of the dice of getting like the really good rewards that week because you didn't have the DLC. So they're disadvantaging, you know, paying, you know, regular paying customers rather than their DLC paying customers.
Yeah, it's bad.
Which is bad, but it's not the end of the world. And what they're saying here with Evolve is the same kind of thing, as in, you know, you're going to have all these monsters you're not going to be able to play with, and presumably maps as well. But one of the advantages over the DLC is that the additional class of human characters, or the first ones that have been announced anyway, you can get them in the game, but the pre-order bonus or the first season pack or whatever the hell it is, the pre-order bonus, if you're paying over the odds for it, is that you don't have to grind and, you know, play through the game a lot in order to unlock them. So it's pay to win effectively, which is, you know, again, it's not a particularly nice practice to be involved with, is it?
No, it's very fucking weird. Well, I thought when I played Evolve, I really, really didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I tell you why. I had high hopes for it, but and maybe that's because it's still in like a beta stage, or whether it's alpha, I can't remember. But I didn't think it was matched quite right in terms of when I was the humans on the human side. That was it was good and it was fun and all this stuff. But when I was playing against the Kraken, it was almost impossible to it wasn't almost impossible to win. I mean, it depends on you as a team, and I just think there was a part of me that was like, at one point, like one person kind of completely strayed off, and we just got separated, and it's tough to kind of just be like, you know, come on guys, let's all work together. And then when I played, because you can only play as Goliath when you're the monster in the beginning until you unlock to get to the Kraken or whatever and all this stuff. So I was playing as the Goliath thing, and I just found him really crap and slow and shit, and like I was trying to go around eating this stuff to like evolve up, and but then I was just like, oh, I'll just turn around and fight these guys, and then basically you get overpowered quite quickly. And I know that's kind of part of it, and I would like to think that you get better over time, but I was just, by the time I'd done about 5 rounds, I was like, I'm bored.
Yeah, you can't take on as a monster. You can't take the hunters on until you're level 3, really, realistically.
Yeah.
Because you need to wait until you've got a shield to start taking them on. Then you have to. I think the tactics are that you have to kind of take them down little by little because they don't regenerate or they have a set number of lives and you don't. You have a shield and then a set number of health, which is quite hard to regenerate by killing those other big kind of like alpha enemies or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
The wildlife.
But that's it. It was like, I'm not saying, I think they will kind of fix that probably a bit more, and that's kind of what they're testing out anyway, until it becomes like quite an even match. But I just was like, I don't know if I would play this any more than I'm playing it now. Like, there's a part of me that was like, is that it? Is that the game? Like, just round upon round upon round of this, like just somewhere else. And there was some quite funny bits. Like at one point, I went into like a warehouse bit, and they were behind me, and I was like, fuck, and I couldn't get out. And so I just crouched behind these like crates, and bearing in mind, like, you're a huge fucking monster, and I was crouching, and I could see them like running around and jumping around, trying to find me, and they couldn't understand where I was. And I was there for ages, just wait. And then they had to find me, and that was probably the best fun I had. And so basically, it's essentially a hide and seek. It was the most enjoyable part of that game for me. I just don't know. It just felt like quite empty. I don't know if they're bringing anything else to it. There's probably not going to be much of like a story side to it. And alright, you can unlock different people and weapons and shit like that. But I don't know. I just felt a little bit like boring. Don't know, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be really good, and I'll actually like it.
I kind of agree in that. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I said it back in the time. It's quite an intense game. I don't know how many times you can do the same map, the same battle, and this comes back to the amount of content in the game.
Yeah.
If you can change your guns or change your characters as a human support class or change your monster, but there's only so much kind of variation that can go on there. You're essentially doing the same battle, but there's not really much that changes.
Yeah.
I can imagine it being very repetitive, and yeah, I mean what you're saying is that. I mean what you're saying, to go back to what you were saying earlier, is that it's based on sorry, terrible grammar, but. It's largely based on the people you're teamed with. It's very teamwork orientated. Actually, playing well at Evolve. In order to take the monster down, you have to be a team of 4 people, and if you're going to get some numpty off the internet, which is bound to happen, then not all that good. But I suppose
I was probably that
numpty. You had 4 friends that were completely different. Sorry, well, you had 4 friends, maybe, but as in not maybe all online at the same time.
Yeah.
Digging a hole.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was interesting, but not. We'll see what happens, and I'd be interested to see what other people think of it and what the reviews come out as, because at the moment it's not impressing me, and I definitely wouldn't pre-order it. So what's next? What's next on your list?
Well, segueing directly in from what we were almost just talking about, which is the Destiny news. They have announced, it was leaked that
you're no longer allowed to play.
That people need to stop playing Destiny. That the next DLC called House of Wolves was originally, everyone understood it to be March. Apparently they've now renamed it or re-announced that it's Q2, so that could be obviously anywhere from April to June. The date that was leaked was 19th of May, so they haven't really denied that. And then they've all but confirmed the fact that there's I can't remember the exact phrase, but effectively a kind of a large DLC release planned in autumn, so September time, for Destiny. That all fits with the leak that was from last month, where someone had taken a picture of a roadmap saying that there were 5 DLCs this year. So DLCs in all, one of which we've had, and four of them are kind of the vein we've just had. So, one raid, one strike, several missions, new weapons and content, and then the one that's in the middle, which is this thing called the Comet or something like that, is effectively almost the same size as the original game again. So
Wow.
that's coming.
Pretty big.
Yeah, pretty big. But there are, and I think it's probably at this stage in my Destiny career, quite thankfully, there are some large gaps between them.
Yes,
I'd imagine they're all going to bunch up towards the end of the year, which is fine. But at the moment, I'd be quite appreciative when I can stop playing it and get on with some other stuff.
Life.
Get on with life. So yeah, that's going to be. I mean, that's now kind of like becoming clear as to what their release strategy was, because everyone was sort of saying, well, we reckon they'll go to a yearly thing. I didn't really believe that from the get-go. It looks like they're going to be releasing digitally, which is quite interesting. Large amounts of content at regular intervals, which is not something that's really happened on consoles before. I mean, I'm pretty certain that PCs have that all the time, but on consoles, quite a new idea. Or approach, anyway.
Okay.
Betty.
I saw a thing for a game called Until Dawn. Have you seen this? Heard about this?
I can guess what it is.
It's a horror game.
Bob.
It's Hayden Panettiere, Panacotta, who was in Heroes, who's going out with Klitschko. And it's a horror game, and it's a slasher thing, and it's supposed to have a Telltale type consequence, narrative thing. And graphics wise, it looks pretty good. But yeah, and it's basically supposed to be spoofing off the 70s, 80s slasher kind of thing, classic teens in a cabin in the middle of the woods kind of thing, very tongue-in-cheek, self-referential thing. But it looks quite exciting in terms of it's all annoyingly QTAs, but not hit this one here, but where it gives you, I think it's like the Heavy Rain kind of way of you've got different options at the same time, but it's pretty immediate and actual stuff that has an actual actual events that have an actual impact on the overall story rather than any kind of Telltale stuff where you're kind of just you're kind of following a very regulated line, even though you think you might not be. But yeah, which leads me on actually to Game of Thrones episode 2.
Oh, hang on. One before you go into there.
Before that.
Before that, there's another couple of zombie games that come out. So one is Dying Light.
Yeah, have you got it? I'm never going to get it. It looks boring.
Okay, and there's another one that's coming out on Xbox One, which is a remaster. At this point, just quit it. Who cares? Of
Quidditch.
that was out on the last generation, but I didn't play that yet. I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to try and find it while we're online. But anyway, go on. Game of Thrones episode 2.
Game of Thrones episode 2 is better than episode 1.
Okay.
Which is good for a start. I don't think episode 1 was that great. Episode 2 isn't that great, but it's better than episode 1. And it's kind of opening up a little bit more now, and I'm actually starting to feel interested in these characters. There was no major things. There was hints of stuff to come more than anything. So it's a little bit. I mean, there was some pretty big stuff, but it was a little bit. I don't want to say it's filler because it wasn't, because you got introduced to 2 characters who were pretty cool. But it's good. The thing is, it's I don't know if it was like this on the first one or any of them, or maybe I've just made it up. But it seems to have been doing this watercolor kind of texture thing. And at first I thought it was because at one point they're in the desert bit, and I thought, oh, maybe that's just it, trying to all the edges are blurry and stuff, and maybe that's because it was trying to do the simmering heat thing. I mean, it's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. It looks quite nice, but then sometimes I'm just a bit like, "Oh, it just looks like it's not been rendered properly or something like that." I was like, are they all like that? Have they always been like that? And I feel like it
Yeah.
hasn't. I think it's been quite bold, sharp, like comic book kind of graphics. But these feel like
In
quite
Telltale
watered.
generally, or in episode one?
Well, both. I don't know if it's been a Game of Thrones thing that was on the last episode that I just didn't see.
I think that from what I've seen on the videos, I mean, I've bought this game, episode one anyway, but I haven't played it yet. Um, because I'm hoping to get the lady involved because she likes Game of Thrones. I think maybe this is a segue into the world of gaming. I'll report back on how disastrously that goes. Um, from the video I've seen, it does look like his departure in their kind of style, because from The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us and whatever the hell the other one is, it does look like they've got a kind of visual style going on that is not present in the Game of Thrones games. It looks like they've tried to go, yeah, maybe a little bit kind of watercolory, a bit more kind of realism, but it kind of ends up looking a little bit kind of like Uncanny Valley, doesn't it? Kind of a bit.
It's just a bit, yeah, weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I mean, it was alright. I haven't reviewed it on the site or anything yet, but it's. I'm still waiting for that. I mean, the first episode ended really cool, but I'm still waiting for. I mean, maybe it's a slow burn, but then I don't know. Are they just going to do like what was the last one, 6 episodes or something? So if they're doing six, like we're almost halfway through. It's like I think now it's going to. Hopefully, in the next episode onwards, it's built up enough momentum that it's now going to be like really kicking off. But it's like there was this whole thing where, like in the first episode, you play the sister, and it's like you have to get Marjorie or whatever her name is to sort this out for you. It's like okay. And then the second episode, the, when you're her again, the first half of what you do, well, pretty much 2/3 of what you do with her, which sounds weird, is pretty much the same thing. Oh, can you do me this favor? And it's like, but I just did this in the first episode, and it's like, oh, you're making a deal with Tyrion, and it's like, again, I did this in the first episode. Like, it's I'm just doing the
Ah,
same thing.
there's a thing that I don't know if this is relevant to you, because you're obviously playing on PS4, but there's some kind of bug in the Xbox One version that that's been reported, whereby the game episode one didn't save people's choices. So when they start episode two, it starts them with like the vanilla story, as it was. So none of the choices you actually made, for better or for worse, are memorized, and you effectively just go into it, with what the game thinks is a kind of neutral history.
Yeah, I heard that was just the Xbox One though. I mean, it's still carried over my decisions because it kind of has
Oh,
the
oh, okay.
catch up in the beginning. But also, did you hear that the PS4 owners got charged more than the Xbox One?
Oh, really?
Apparently,
That's
yeah,
not
that's
that's
quite
not the
bad.
first time though. Like one system sometimes gets preferential price on the other. Like there was a golf game I was thinking about buying the other week, and oh, hello, I've got some auto playing there, auto playing video. There was a golf game that was just a random sale on PSN for like £20 off. It was down to about £10, but the
Okay.
same sale wasn't on Xbox. And even it's exactly the same game. And you're thinking, okay, because over Christmas and Thanksgiving, most of the games that were kind of on both systems were on sale to similar degrees anyway, but not not that kind of thing.
Right.
So it's a bit strange.
It's a bit strange. Okay, what's next on your list?
Um, oh yeah. So while you're talking about Telltale games, I can't find what the hell this zombie game is for the life of me. But there's another zombie game that's coming out on Xbox One. They're absolutely everywhere. Ugh. Um, the Square Enix have released a game called it was the same thing. There was a demo, and then the actual release like 2 days later, called Life is Strange. Um,
Yeah, I read about this in Edge.
Episodic content, modern day setting. You play a teenage girl who gets some kind of like time powers. Sounds like Max Payne, but less guns. Um, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, with these kind of like adventure. Well, I don't know if adventure is the right word, but I think it's the best word at the moment. With these kind of games, I'm quite I kind of like them. That's the kind of thing I like. I think um, less shooting is good because there's just too much of that at the moment. Um, yeah, I'm interested to play it. I mean, the reviews weren't outstanding because again, like episode one, they were kind of sort of saying, well, yeah, maybe
Apparently, the acting's terrible.
it's a good base, but they need to change a few things.
Have you played it then?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, cool. So, well, talk about shooting. I did Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare. Did I talk about this in the last one?
I think you did, yeah.
I think I was talking about playing it. Well, I completed it.
Okay.
I've done some of the multiplayer stuff. The reviews on the website actually. But first player, the campaign mode isn't too bad in that I kind of get what's going on, which is
That's very
good.
unusual for Call of
I
Duty.
know, exactly. It's like, oh, I kind of understand this because you've made it really simple and you've tried not to just throw things around. Kevin Spacey's good, but he's just basically like fucking what's his name at House of Cards and his classic kind of man in a suit, big boss man kind of thing. And I really, I felt like they could have done a bit more with it maybe, but it was good enough. And to be honest, it's like I'm not playing the Call of Duty single player campaign thinking that it's going to change my life, that it's going to be some deep emotional thing.
No, usually they're quite fun, but ultimately really confusing. But
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's kind of done without the confusing and just concentrated on, like, he's the bad guy. And you're like, oh, okay. He's like the good guy who becomes, well, I've ruined it for anyone who couldn't fucking guess that was going to happen anyway, which you can't strip.
you can tell straight from the bloody trailer he looks fucking...
Exactly, that's what I mean. But, shock fucking horror, spoiler alert, he's actually the bad guy.
Private military contractors are bad guys. Wow, I didn't see that coming.
To be fair, they don't, like, make a big thing of it. It's just it's quite subtly, like, kind of happens about 2/3 of the way in. But one problem is that the levels are really short. And then there's a part of me thinking, maybe, like, it can't be that I'm really good at this or something like that. But, like, for instance, they had a bit on the bridge, and that was really short. It was like 5 or 10 minutes. I think I might have spoke about this in the last episode. But, yeah, and so, I don't know. It was alright, though. It was good. Multiplayer is good. Again, really fun, classic, very solid experience. But the only problem is that it feels like, because you do the double jump, it feels like I'm playing Titanfall, except when I'm like running off, except you can't run off the walls or anything like that. So I actually feel like I'd rather be playing Titanfall than Call of Duty multiplayer. And like, because you feel like when you're doing Titanfall and you're jumping off stuff and you're running along the walls and you're doing all that, you feel like, yeah, you're doing this.
Yeah.
But like when you're trying to do like a double jump and you still can't get up, or you can't, or you're just like slamming straight up against a fucking wall, it just feels a bit lame. I mean, they've got this cool like boost thing, but they're like, oh, if people are shooting you, just boost out the way. And it's a classic Call of Duty thing where it's like, I run behind a wall, a thick solid wall, and then I die because for some reason there's that weird.
No.
They've shot you and it's absorbed you whilst you're running anyway, so I don't think the boost kind of works. But I don't know. But yeah, it was alright. It was okay.
I mean,
I quite enjoyed it. I mean, it's the best Call of Duty I played for a while, simply because it's got a really solid single player campaign, which I really enjoyed, and the multiplayer is great. But I don't know, just.
I kind of like what you're saying about that, because one of my biggest bugbears in games, or hates in games nowadays, other than kind of pre-order bullshit, is games that just pad it out, games that are too long. Like, what is the point? And I just do not get it. Like, I mean, we'll come on to it in a bit, but I'm playing Shadowfall at the moment, and oh, Jesus Christ, like, come on.
Yeah.
Some games are just so unnecessarily long and so much filler that you're just kind of thinking, well, I'm not really, nothing new is happening in this section. Why is it even happening? Like, why are you wasting my time? If it's good, then just, carry on with some new ideas, or, just let it happen. Where it's just kind of really average, then, oh, Jesus, why?
Yeah.
But 2 questions for you on that, or one's a question, one is a statement. So How did you find the funeral scene in Call of Duty?
How do I find it?
Press X to pay respects.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
I didn't even. Yeah, didn't
Why?
even.
Why does that bit need to be interactive?
I tell you what, and it's happening. Funny enough, in Game of Thrones episode 2, and I know why it happens. I think it's because then you are personally. It's as if you're making this weird decision that you've made a personal effort, even if it's just pushing a button, um, and a personal investment into what has just happened in a really weird, very lame, basic way. So, for instance, there's a funeral scene, funny enough, in Game of Thrones episode 2, and you've got to light these things on fire, the pyres on fire, and it says like press whatever X or something to light on fire, and you're like, okay, thinking is something going to happen, or and it just does it. And you're just like, oh, okay, that's weird. Why can't it just do it anyway for me? And that's another thing about Game of Thrones episode 2, and generally speaking with Telltale stuff, is sometimes it's like, move forward and you press left stick to like move up, and then you take about 5 spaces, and then it goes to like another cutscene, and it's like, why did I need to do
Why
that?
bother?
Yeah, why don't you just do that for
with,
me?
with the funeral thing, there's no point in making it interactive because there's no alternative option, right?
Yeah,
Press X to pay respects, or basically the funeral is going to last forever. You will never get out of that funeral, right? It's just going to. There's literally nothing else that will happen.
yeah,
So what's the point?
yeah, you're right. But that's it. That's what I think it is. It's just like so that it makes it strangely feel like you've got some weird personal attachment to it because you've pressed that button and made it happen.
Some people, Sam. Some people. Anyway,
Just
right.
like-
Second thing is rather amusing is that there was an award ceremony recently. I can't remember one of the big American ones for games where
the AVAs, or whatever it is, the
no
adult
idea.
adult video.
Basically- Oh yeah, no, definitely those. They were discussing Call of Duty. Kevin Spacey was up for an award for best actor in a video game, and you'd think, right, okay, he's got this hands down. He's going to beat no.
Oh, is this the DICE Awards?
You are.
The DICE Awards,
Oh, must.
where like Shadow of Mordor won like 100 awards. No, it didn't win 100. Like won like 10 awards, and then Dragon Age Inquisition got best game of the year, and it'd only been voted to like one other thing.
But basically, beating Kevin Spacey to an acting award was Trey Parker for Stick of Truth.
Oh no, it wasn't the DICE then.
Amazing. He said apparently during his speech, only in video games can I beat Kevin Spacey for an acting award.
Yeah, I think that is weird.
It's my favourite story ever.
That is fucking weird.
It's true though. I mean, if he's doing the majority of the voices for Stick of Truth, it's just so good. Rather than Kevin Spacey turning up and doling out political American.
Well, there's that whole
American
thing.
template number one.
Yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing which they talk about generally about awards like Oscars and stuff, which is like, why doesn't comedy get more of a, why does it have to be drama?
Oh, exactly.
Awards, why can't it be like comedy?
Well, there's in the Guardian.
Comedy.
He's done one of the film reviewers in the Guardian has done like favourite comedies. I can't remember when he did it. It was probably a few years ago now. He did the top 10 comedies of. Must have been 2010 he did it, so it's top 10 comedies of the decade or whatever. And in it, in the top 3 were Team America and Borat. Oh no, sorry, top 10 films. He actually had those films in like really, really high up.
So who had?
I can't remember whoever the main Guardian reviewer was at the time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he was making.
What about Peter Bradshaw?
Yeah, it was probably something like that. But as in,
he follows the site. Do you know that?
Excellent.
Not on games.
Probably doesn't listen to podcasts though. But as in, he was making the point of that these are so stupendously clever and well crafted films that why are they just kind of deemed to fight it out for lesser awards when they're easily as much talent has gone into them as Lincoln or some other bullshit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I chose Lincoln. Just first thing.
No, but you're right. Well, I fucking hate Lincoln for a start. But that's a good one to pick. Yeah.
That kind of film. Anyway, yeah. Okay, that's all the news I had. All the PSN and Xbox Live games. So, Xbox Live game for February is hashtag iDarb.
Right.
So
What that is.
that's a mouthful. That's what she said. Um, with it's a kind of strange like arena sport game, like esport game. It looks really fun if you have a look at it. It's kind of fast paced, frenetic. You know, you jump around and try and get a ball in the other person's goal or whatever. But it's up to 8 players, and it can be 8 players locally, raising the question of do you ever have 8 people around your house, and do you have 8 Xbox One controllers?
Gang
Probably not.
bang.
But I don't live. I'm not in university anymore. Um, so going back to what you were saying earlier, that would have been fantastic, like years ago. But I don't think I'm going to get the chance to play it as it should be played now because I just don't. The chances to play that kind of environment don't really happen that often.
Yeah.
But it does look quite a fun game. Um, it's kind of pixel art. You can create your own characters. You can create your own music in it. All that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. And then on PSN, so the swapper is just gone, which we'll talk about in a bit. And in its place, there's another game as well. I can't remember it, but mainly Rogue Legacy, which I've downloaded. Thank you very much. Been wanting to play that for a while, so I will get onto that at some point. And a PS4 game called, I'm going to get this wrong, a Pantheon.
Yeah.
Um,
It's supposed to be a bit shit. Transistor as well.
oh yeah, Transistor. That was it. So my question is, why, having looked at Transistor and a Pantheon, why aren't they? Why they look like the perfect kind of games for Vita? Why can't I play that on Vita?
You can, can't you?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can. Transistor, you can. It's Vita. Well,
I'm pretty certain you can't because I searched for it on the PSN store on Vita earlier and it wasn't there.
oh, that's Sony calling you now.
Mm.
Do you want to pick that up?
Games like that, I kind of think, well, you know, I'd happily kind of spend 5 minutes playing it on my Vita if I'm commuting or whatever, but I'm not like turning the PS4 on and putting it on the big screen, you know, when I'm captive and I can't do anything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm not doing that. But
Okay, let's just because of time, I'm aware of as well.
do I have news? Yes, that's fine. Yeah, cool. That's that. Good stuff.
Good stuff. So the Swapper, I know you're playing. I completed it. I literally smashed it out in about 2 days, which was hardcore. But it was weird because when Tess was watching me play, it sounds weird. The times obviously I put the control down, I just stare at the screen. She's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm playing." She's like,
Were you playing it on
"No, you're not."
PS4?
Yeah, PS4.
Yeah,
She's
it
like,
looks entirely different on Vita.
"Does it?"
The screen is stretched, I guess. It actually looks a lot nicer on Vita than it does on PS4.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's a PC originally, ages ago, but yeah. So I was, yeah, just and that's it. It's because it's puzzle based. I'm going through it in my head. Like to begin with, you're like, "Oh right, yeah, okay, this is quite cool," and then by like the last few points, you can kind of do them in whatever order you want to a degree. You don't have to do all of them one
Yeah.
by one straight away. But I think you do. Well, I had to anyway for the very end. But yeah, and like some of the puzzles, it's like you go in, I'd spend like half an hour, and I'm like, just don't get it. I do not. It is absolutely impossible for this to be done. They must have made something wrong. There must be a glitch or something. There's no way. And then you suddenly start doing it, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That's when I text you saying my question to you was I was stuck on this one puzzle and my question was, do they introduce any kind of new concepts or functionality to the game whereby I've kind of made it into an area I shouldn't be, effectively.
You're right.
Am I missing a tool or an option that, you know, a facility in play that I will need to solve this puzzle? And you're basically like, no, it's that gun or that swapping gun all the way, and that's it. Okay, fine. So then I stood there and actually I transferred the save to the cloud and then downloaded it on PS4 and then played it on there, and I somehow got the answer when I was playing on PS4 rather than on Vita, and then transferred it back. I don't know why the brainwave hit me when I was looking at it on the big screen. but it was one of the solutions, or some of the solutions are not as you would think. So they're almost trying to make you like almost break the game. Does that it's not or kind of toy with the mechanics, maybe say.
Yeah. I think the big turning point for me in terms of strategy was that you have to realize that you have to kind of kill your clones. Does that make
Oh yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah. No,
And
they
that,
have to be completely sacrificial kind of thing.
yeah, because there's an element of like you want to kind of keep them alive to do stuff or whatever, and then you realize like, no wait, I need to be killing them so I can make more of them, and now they're in place and stuff like that. And yeah, it was really, really, really great game,
I
and
think
I quite enjoyed the story as well. I mean, it doesn't really, it kind of makes sense by the end for me anyway. When I thought about it, I was like, oh, okay, it's different consciousnesses, like different people, and all this, and you know, the final choice thing is quite cool. But yeah, I really liked it, and I love
I'm
quite.
really close to the end now. I haven't got past those puzzles I was stuck on. You know, in terms of narrative structure, it does seem like it's about to kind of hit the end times. Um, but yeah, I'm liking it. It's quite good. It's cryptic. There's enough kind of they're giving you enough information to make a story out of it. I really like the art style, but as I said, it looks so much sharper on Vita. It's unbelievable. It does look a lot nicer on that. Um, yeah, it's quite good, and I think when you're trying to break the mechanics of the game to try and force you to come up with the answer to a puzzle, I don't think I think it's good. I think they don't go too far with it, which is refreshing because things like Fez, I don't know if you've ever played that. That's a kind
I
of
can't get past the
thing
first
which
level.
you are.
I can't get past the first level. Every time I return to it, I'm like, where am I going? What am I doing again?
Yeah, Fez is kind of a game whereby you know they purposely put things in like there's one oh, I can't remember which way around it is, but there's one level where basically you have to restart your Xbox and it registers that the game crashed and then something's different the next time you come into it. The next one is a puzzle of four clocks or something, and one of them registers every 5 minutes, one every uh, day, month, and year. So effectively, unless you're going to wait there for a year, you have to be playing around with the Xbox internal clocks. You have to go into the settings and change the clock and all this kind of stuff. Um,
Ugh.
and it goes. I'm sure it goes worse than that because I was not very far into the game. I don't think anyway. But there were certain things to that where it was just too much. I think for me anyway. Fez it kind of had me in the style of the game because it was just so interesting, and I like the kind of 2D, 3D art style and the concept of flipping things around to make them closer or further away. That was fantastic, but I think some of the puzzles are needlessly kind of obtuse and difficult, and it pissed me right off. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. But Swapper is great. I love it.
Swapper was great. Another one I'm playing is still getting through Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, have you played it at all? I'm always asking. It's the first question I always say.
Sam,
That's a no.
listen to this when I tell you I gave up on Black Flag and I'm not going near Assassin's Creed Rogue or Unity. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I refuse. I
Okay.
haven't got enough time in my life to warrant that kind of shit.
Right. But the problem is
Sorry for the curse words.
that I enjoy curse words, especially real voodoo curse words. Let me tell you this. So it looks great.
Yeah.
Firstly, it's really pretty. It's fucking amazing. All the people, streets, and I'm like, wow. The problem is that I'm like, I'm doing the same shit I've been doing for ages and for years. Tweaked a little bit better, but it is marginally better. Like, you know, it's a little bit smoother than it has been in previous
Confirm my
things.
decision, really, I think.
But yeah, I'm just like, I'm playing it going, I'm fucking bored. Like, this is great, this setting, this world you've done. And hats off, like, looks great. But I'm sick of playing Assassin's Creed. I think I'm just sick of it. Doing the missions are the same. Like, and it's also the classic thing, and I always had this anyway with the old Assassin's Creed, which is like, you try it once really stealthy, then something will happen, you'll get seen, or like some fucking shit, I don't know, and then you might die, and so it's like, okay, well, I'm not doing stealthy again, and you go in just fucking balls out and smash it up, and then it gets to the point where you're sick of doing the stealth stuff, and you rather just kind of go in as much as possible to
It does
smash
not
it up.
work.
Yeah, but it's just, and I'm collecting stuff. Okay, I'm doing these little missions. Fine. I'm keeping up this house that's bringing me an income. Okay, great. And it's like the menus have suddenly got like weirdly intricate and having all these different. You don't just buy stuff. It's not a list. You've got to like unlock things for missions or different things, and then you can buy it. And then you've got all the Uplay shit. You've got the stuff which you have to get from the companion app, and I've got the companion app as well. And I started doing stuff thinking, okay, well, something to do, tap in things. And then it's this shitty thing where you double tap and you have to find these little symbols in the buildings, whatever, which is bullshit. And you're like, okay, I can kind of do this. And then I've just hit this massive difficulty spike where you've got to find like 7 and you've only got like 3 double taps, which sounds to anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about like some weird thing. But that's a lot. Like, bear in mind, for each double tap, I usually find like 1 or 2, and you only get 3, and you've got to find 7, and if you don't get them all, then you're fucked. And like the one before that was like 7 double taps to find 4, put it that way, and it was 3 to find 7.
Nothing you're saying is making me think, oh yeah, I'm missing out here.
But that's it, and then it's like, oh, okay, and then it's like, oh, do you want it? If you want, you can buy 4 more turns, and it's like, oh, here we fucking go. Right, asking for the money. So all these, like, when I go onto the map and all these blue chests that are everywhere, I can't open because they're closed, and it's just for the fucking companion app, which is trying to make you pay to even get them in the first place.
It's basically, you've got a game, right, where there should be 3 core concepts at work. There should be stealth, there should be combat, and there should be the parkour, right? This is something that they established in Assassin's Creed 1. That was what this idea was going to be, right? So over the course of Assassin's Creed games, from Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood, stealth has got steadily worse, right? It's harder to do, it's more buggy, and the other systems, such as parkour and the fighting, get in the way of it. Like, if you're trying to be stealthy and you get caught on a ledge, or you start climbing up a ladder, you'll get caught and the stealth is over. When the fighting is as buggy and as monotonous and not very fun as it is now, then it's just a boring game to play and not all that fun or fair. Where in Assassin's Creed up to, again, 2, where there were just kind of endless amounts of finishing moves, but it was fun. It was still fun. It was repetitive, but it was fun. Now you just find yourself blocking constantly from like the larger enemies, and you just have to rely on having smoke bombs or taking people out from afar. It's boring, and there's no way to effectively feel like a badass in close combat because it's too hard. It's broken. It's just awful. And then as for the parkour, it's just got steadily worse. Now, I did see that they sort of said that some of the downwards parkour in Assassin's Creed Unity is a little bit better, in terms of like dismounting down from buildings.
Well, yeah, you press circle to go down and X to go up, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Which it will do.
I mean,
so it does. I mean, it's all right,
Just refuse to publish one. Just refuse to publish one for a year and get the same studio working on it that were working on it before, instead of having, each game is released by a different studio, but then each game is also developed on by. There's a famous thing about Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft saying that they've got like follow the sun development, so they've got development studios in like Malaysia and Indonesia, in China, in Canada, in Europe, in Russia, that kind of thing. So there's always a team developing the same game. So Assassin's Creed Unity was handled by about 6 different studios, or however many it is. And
yeah.
It's not science. The whole thing of too many cooks spoil the broth. Like, that's, you don't find Valve or Bungie or whoever else you want to cite as producing excellent games, Naughty Dog, whatever. They've got a clear vision on those games, and those games reflect what they're after. Whereas Assassin's Creed, just all over the shop. you've got these three core concepts of the game that none of them work, and the only thing that's kind of identifiable in the game is that there's so much content in there that it's just nonsense. It's going to take you, half your year to sift through, and probably a month of that is saying no and rejecting requests to sign up to Uplay. So, I can't believe how done I am with that series. I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like what I enjoyed about Black Flag is that you could fuck off on your boat and like go around stuff, and I enjoyed all that like naval combat
Yeah, that was excellent,
stuff.
wasn't it? I mean, that was great, but that's the only thing they've got right in what the last 5 games.
Yeah, and there's
Um,
none of that in Unity.
but it's but- so you run a really a best-selling Assassins game, whereby the only feature you've nailed in 5 attempts is where you are a pirate on a boat. Oh right, okay. That's in no other game is that acceptable. Oh
Mm.
right, you've released 4 Halo games and they're all terrible, but you really have nailed looking after a farming community. Oh okay, brilliant, thanks. Like what the fuck?
Yeah,
Seriously, like it's just nonsense.
it's a bit nonsense, but it's
Yeah,
it's all
you're
right.
kind of caught by it, aren't you? That's the thing. Like I don't like giving up on games and sending them back halfway through. I hate it, but
No, I mean I
yeah,
will go through it and complete the main story. I mean the one thing that does annoy me as well, and what I don't think I've experienced with the previous Assassin's Creeds, is that if you, because I was just sticking for this very reason of like I just kind of want to get through it a little bit. If you stick to just doing the story missions, you will not be strong enough to do them, if that makes sense. So I mean that's
yeah,
kind of
they make you
okay.
do the filler. They make the filler
Yeah,
part of
but
the.
I've never really felt like I've had to do it before. Like I've always kind of done it,
Yeah,
and then I've done the
you
story
just don't have
missions.
to. Even
But
in Black
unless,
Flag, like you couldn't take on the, you couldn't take on. I mean, I didn't. I probably only got about halfway through, maybe a little bit further. But there were several missions you couldn't take on until your ship was more powerful. And how do you get a more powerful ship? You have to go pirating on the seas, and you have
yeah,
to.
but they weren't story missions, were they? I can't remember.
Yeah, they're story missions. Honestly, like in order to
Okay,
do the first missions just after you get a ship and you're in the Caribbean, the first time you lay siege to a fort, like it's a mandatory mission. You have to go and pirate a load of ships, and then there's another few where you have to take on a man of war, and you go to the mission marker, and it'll tell you you're not powerful enough yet to go away and spec up your ship, get a better hull, get a better weapons, get a mortar, all this kind of stuff. So they've been doing it for a while.
okay, yeah. For just this one, it just felt really apparent. Maybe it wasn't so apparent in the previous ones, but
But
or maybe
yeah,
I'm just in more of a mood just to kind of get it over and done with. The thing is, it's like I'm just playing all this thinking I just want to do Far Cry 4.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's something I haven't perfected yet, but as in, that that is part of the art of playing games in the
It
present
is an
day.
art.
It is basically just sort of saying, right, I'm done with this game. I can't be rimmed with it. It's so much more time than I can possibly warrant giving it. Um, as if time is a kind of infinite resource, which obviously isn't. And Assassin's Creed take the piss on that to the nth degree, I think. But that said, there was that screenshot and leak that the next Assassin's Creed game, which will be out in about 6 months, brilliant, it will be in
Yeah.
Victorian England and will be
I
called
know.
Assassin's Creed Victory.
I know,
Um,
and I'm gonna get it because it'll be in London.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get it because it'll be in London, and then I'll be vomiting over myself as I'm playing it, just sick of myself.
I
But
know,
if
and
it
it's
is in
gonna be really
London, I'll get it.
shit. I know,
But
and that'll probably be the last one. I reckon. I don't think I could do because the thing is, as soon as I finish this, you're right. It's gonna be 6 months, and they'll be starting to fucking gear up on the next one, and I've not even done this one. So it's like whoa, whoa, calm down.
and there's
You know?
gonna and in between that, there'll be a re-release of Rogue on the new generation of consoles.
Yeah, probably.
Guarantee it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Which is apparently better than Unity.
oh fuck that. I mean, it's basically the same game as Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but just with snow instead of tropical
Sounds
climates.
good to me.
Like who cares? Oh, there's penguins, right? Okay, but we've played this game before, and now it comes down to the whole thing that they're contradicting themselves. You now play as a Templar who's as skilled in the arts of well, big quotation fingers, stealth, and also combat. as the assassins. Sorry, when did that happen? I thought the Templars were shady men of,
Shady fat
fat cats
politicians.
people, the people with money. The assassins were the nimble people running around sniping people. Like, what the hell? Like, not everyone could be doing parkour and running around on the top of buildings. Oh wait, they can. Right, okay, fine.
Okay. And
Makes
also,
no
why are none of
sense.
them
No
smoking hash
sense.
anymore?
You are
None of them are smoking dope anymore. What happened with that?
smoking dope. What are you talking about?
That's where assassins come from, because they were the hash assassins. They
Oh,
smoked hash, and I think
well,
they kind of, that's where the word comes from.
have you been smoking?
No, it's true. You can look it up. And in the first one, they kind of hint at it a little bit when you're going to, like, do you remember when you had your dens and stuff? There'd be some guy like, "Hey, welcome," and it was like the idea was that he's like smoking a reefer. I swear they did it in the first one, but that's kind of where it comes from. You can look it up, motherfucker. Whoop. Okay. Well, that's
Good.
what else are you playing? Because I've still got some stuff.
Two quick ones before we get into the meat of it. There was a free game last month called Whoa Dave, which I was on PSN, sorry, on Vita.
Look, shit. Is it any
I think
good?
I think it got like a 9 from Eurogamer or something,
Ridiculous.
which I read the review thinking, oh, this sounds amazing. And then I played the game and I couldn't last longer than about a minute, if that. Story of my life. But it's fine. Yeah, just it's not that good, is it? What, am I missing something?
I don't know. I don't fucking trust Eurogamer anyway. They can suck my balls. And actually, everything that I read from them, I always have to take with a pinch of salt. And I don't know why.
Yeah,
Like, what? I think it's because
like the main guy, Tom Bramwell. I think he's retired or moved on somewhere else. I don't think he's not old, like as in retired, as in going to play golf all the time, but as in although chance to be a fine thing. I think he's just moving on to some other project. So it's a load of new people now. So maybe it'll change or something. I don't know. But I think it's largely inconsistent. Some of their reviews, like they had that person review Gone Home, which was the Inuit game, and that based
no,
on the
that
strength.
wasn't.
Yeah,
That
based on
wasn't
the
Gone
strength of
Home, was
the
it?
kind
Gone
of.
Home was the one that's in the house.
Oh, sorry. What was it?
Never Gone. I don't know.
Never Alone.
Never Alone.
Um, yeah, and based on the strength that it was kind of cultural storytelling, it got like a 9 or a 10. And when you actually play the game, well, I could watch a documentary about the Inuits, but it doesn't make it a great game. Like, no, doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so Whoa Dave, no thank you.
No, Dave.
No Dave, nice. Danganronpa I've played another couple of hours of. It is entertaining. Some of the stuff that comes out with is really interesting, and I've now I've now been kind of introduced to the main kind of antagonist, which is the kind of cartoon stuffed evil bear, who is
What are you talking about? Is it still Woe Dave?
Danganronpa.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You really should play it because I'll send you a screenshot I took of some of the stuff he says, and it's really funny. Like it's great. I mean, so it's only something a Japanese studio could have produced. It's mental. But yeah, I'm enjoying that so far. But
Yeah, I do need to get it.
I'm not getting that much time to play that one at the moment anyway. So, but hopefully some more in the next few weeks. Playing Destiny still. Surprise, surprise. Hoping to wrap that up before the next DLC. I'm nearly at a point where I can kind of put it down. I have been playing a lot less of it. I just need to kind of get like the couple of weapons I'm missing, and then I can happily wait until the next DLC comes out, really.
Fair enough.
Which is nice. You were. What was the discussion we almost had the other week about you were thinking about getting it, but you weren't, or you'd heard that it was difficult to get into? What was that about?
No idea.
No idea. Okay, great. Okay, well let's come back on that another time. And then the last game I've been playing is Shadowfall. Oh, sorry, Killzone Shadowfall on PS4.
It looks nice, but not very good.
You've played it.
Yeah, did it. It's my first game, I think, PS4.
Yeah. What did it get reviewed as? Do you know?
8, I think. People saying it looks nice, but it's basically empty.
Yeah,
Are
8.
you looking through your
Yeah,
vast library of old game
I get an
magazines?
8, and
Yeah, I mean, it's 7s and 8s, I imagine. I doubt anyone would have given it 9s or 10s. 8s are fucking generous, to be honest.
yes.
I mean, it's like it's the same thing with all these kill zones. It's always like, meh, just
Yeah, and
some stuff. Yeah.
I mean, largely it's highly forgettable, and much like all the kill zones, like the plot is kind of nonsense. Although this one, they're trying to make it a bit more personable, and you're actually involved in it rather than just a kind of grunt going from A to B. You've got a name, and you're apparently involved in trying to stop this kind of mass murdering scientist and trying to work out who your friends are and who your enemies are. But largely, there's so many like kind of little parts of the game that aren't quite finished, like the kind of interaction with, even for Killzone games. Killzone games are normally quite good at kind of making you feel like a real shooter, and um, making the guns feel right and making the impact of the guns feel right. Like, I mean, it's not that I'm a kind of sycophant, but as in Bungie have never got that wrong. As in, whenever you shoot the gun feels kind of meaty, and as in it's feels like a real thing. And when it impacts on an enemy or on a character, you kind of know that you've shot someone, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Whereas in Killzone, like the person, you will have shot them 5 times in the head, they'll still be walking around, and then like kind of split second later, they'll kind of eventually the animation will kick in that they've been shot in the head and they'll go down, and you'll think, okay, you can actually see it working. Like, it's just bizarre, and the jumping's weird, and it's just.
But there are moments in it as well where I was like, I was lost. I was like, where am I supposed to go next? No fucking idea. And I was just like, it was just lame. It was lame. But yeah, another game I've been playing just to quickly speed through this.
But yeah, the visuals are great, but they're not. I mean, I think in the first few levels where you're running around the city and there's a kind of lot of that kind of long draw distance involved, they do look stunning. But I think a lot of that is assisted by the most lens flare I've ever seen in anything ever. I mean, it makes J.J. Abrams look like an amateur. I mean, the lens flare from every light source fills the screen and it's not in kind of realistic directions either. It's always completely horizontal lens flare,
Mm.
and it fills the screen. Sometimes you've got kind of 50 lines from lights kind of flaring across the screen at the same time. It's a bit strange, and
Well, it's
especially in a
very
game where you've got like lasers, coming at you when you think there's a sniper on you, or security cameras. You're trying to look out for lines like that anyway, but they're from every light source, so it kind of gets a bit confusing, and you're thinking, well, what the hell is? I don't know. It's just a completely average game. I was expecting a bit more from it, really.
yeah.
Yeah, but oh well, I'm nearly be finished. It's not overly long, but it is definitely filled out.
Yeah. It's not great.
No,
Not
anyway, yeah,
great.
that's about it.
I'm doing Final Fantasy 13 Part 2.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I'm
glutton
about
for punishment.
do that now. I kind of started it a while ago, and then stopped.
On what? On PS4?
PS3,
Oh, PS3. All right.
and yeah, it's weird because I've put it on easy mode now, so I'm I'm quite enjoying that, not actually having to like break my balls by leveling up or grinding too much. And what's weird is like out of all the Final Fantasies I've played recently, it's probably, even though it's just fucking stupid as the rest of them, it's actually the most enjoyable one yet. Mainly because it's fucking time travel shit, and I just enjoy this like weird timeline, and you're hopping around, and it doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't really matter. Um, and yeah, it's not too bad. It's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
So yeah, I'm playing that at the moment. I want to get that done. I'm gonna try and slowly. There's just part of me that's like, do I want to do every single Final Fantasy? I probably can't, but I want to try. I want to try. I want to do it.
Well, I bought Unfinished Swan and Hohokum recently as well, so I just need to kind of get on with different games. Really, I just need to kind of start actually playing them rather than. And Final Fantasy VI is on that list along with Persona and Danganronpa and Hotline Miami and Grim Fandango and all these things.
You've done
that stare
Hotline
me on
Miami though. You've completed that, right?
You are?
You've completed Hotline Miami, right?
No, no.
You fool. You silly man.
Yeah, I play it quite often, but I don't think I'm anywhere near completing it. I don't think I'm that good at it though. I get frustrated. I know it's kind of like instant restart, which is cool, but I do kind of like get a bit bored of it if I'm having to restart a number of times.
Fuck, really? Hotline Miami? Like, literally, I played it any second I could until I completed it. Like, it was instant.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was literally like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I still listen to the soundtrack. I know we were talking about soundtracks and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, good soundtrack.
Yeah, and I've been weirdly branching off into the music of similar artists and all this stuff. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. The only other thing I've been playing on my phone is, well, two things on my phone is Crossy Road, which is literally just Frogger, basically, just jumping across a road. That's all it is. And it's weirdly addictive, and it's annoying that that's the case. And also, I tried doing the Evolve mobile game, which is pretty shit. And again, it's like another free to play / you can buy extra stuff, but it's crap. It's terrible. I don't even know why I'm playing it. It's stupid. Meow. That's it. That's all I'm playing.
Cool. That's enough. I mean, there's quite a lot in there.
That's enough. There's enough there. But yeah, I'm probably going to do. Oh no, my cat. I'm probably going to do. I'll finish Assassin's Creed, and then. Well, because I've got it. I'm gonna have to do it, and then I'm gonna trade that in and get Far Cry 4.
I started that. I really want to carry on with it. Yeah, that's something I'll be into, definitely, surely.
I'm kind of saving it because the thing is, I know I love Far Cry 4, so I'm kind of going through the pain of Assassin's Creed Unity to get to the payoff of Far Cry 4, even though it's the same fucking studio. Yeah, and then what else? What's being released? What's out? What's coming out?
Well, I don't know when the Division is supposed to come out. I'm not sure.
Oh fucking hell! I mean, what's coming out in the next couple of weeks? Like, what's to look forward to?
Evolve's coming out in March, isn't it? Oh no,
Fuck Evolve.
No, it's out. It's out on Monday, isn't it? February 10th.
It'll probably be soon, yeah.
So that's out soon.
So Evolve's coming out.
Ori and the Blind Forest was announced for March 18th or something.
Okay.
And I can't see when the Division is released.
Okay, so nothing.
So nothing at the moment, but backlog is kind of at record levels, so I don't really need anything to be released.
No, fair enough.
It says 2015, so there's no date.
Okay, well, of course not. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much covered everything, isn't it?
Everything.
Everything there is to cover. I think what we've learnt today is that Ben doesn't like Assassin's Creed, and that I'm beginning not to, and thinking maybe I never did.
That's the thing. That is ultimately the thing. Is is exactly as you're saying. Like I had it, so I wanted to finish it, but all the time you're thinking of other games the whole time, thinking, oh, I just need to get this done. Why won't this end? And that's when you realise I'm not actually enjoying this game. Why am I playing it?
Yeah. Because it's there. It looks nice. It's like being married to a pretty lady.
With no content, with no soul.
No content.
Content.
It's just like being married to a pretty lady with no content,
with no value.
with absolutely zero value. But it has a value. Um, there's a dollar value attached, but
Twenty
absolutely no.
pounds if you trade it in. That's about all it's worth.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, okay, well that's it. So click over to thewildboar.com. That's bore.com for more gaming features, news and such when we can be bothered. Otherwise, follow us at the Wild Boar UK, BORE UK. You can email us to thewildboartv@gmail.com with any questions or anything you want, or just say hello, to be honest, because that would be nice. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back. Hopefully, not too much of a gap next time. Blame it on Bubba and his girlfriend. You can blame it on her as well. But that's it. Thanks, thanks very much, everybody, and goodbye.
Bye.